Well, I'm 2 weeks late because I just came back from Tokyo for a 2 week trip where I saw various concerts. But the Criterion Collection announced the films that they'll be releasing in July, and this month they'll be releasing a collection of films from the same person that made Beginners, plus another early Martin Scorsese film comes to the collection. So let's find out what the Criterion Collection will be releasing in July. So I'm now on the Criterion Collection's website, and for July of 2026, we have a few new titles, with one of them being a big box set, and plus we do have one re-release of a David Lynch film, which I saw recently I actually like, and another Criterion premieres release with The Love That Remains, which of course is made by the same person that made Godland, Holner Paulson, which apparently I found out it's a documentary about about a family which had a couple that's apparently recently divorced, I think, and it kind of follows the family since that divorce, which but based on seeing the preview of it, it kind of looks like an interesting film, and I've also, though you can actually see the film right now on the Criterion channel, I think, but apparently yeah, so let's go through probably the big titles that apparently they'll be releasing in July of this year, beginning with a box set consisting of the films of Mike Mills, who made various films, including the Oscar-winning Beginners, which of course stars Christopher Plummer, where he got an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the film, and the film also has Ewan McGregor and Melanie Laurent, where the film kind of focuses on this guy in Los Angeles in 2003, where then and also with his dog, and then they, of course, he finds that his father likes men, and yeah, apparently the person that plays his father's boyfriend apparently was played by the same person that you probably saw on the OC. Yeah, I mean, then the film was kind of interesting when I saw of how it was presented, where of course the guy tells his story and he kind of does something like this, this is 2003, this is the sun and the stars and the president. I mean, you kind of say 2 times in the film, but I mean, but it kind of might be a similar thing with the 2 other films, and we could probably say is an unofficial trilogy, although this might be all the films that he made so far. I mean, the other 2 being 20th Century Woman, which based on what I know about that film, it has Annette Bening and Elle Fanning and Greta Gerwig, and also kind of also involves planes too. And then there's Come On, Come On, which has Joaquin Phoenix, and apparently it's also filmed in black and white, which kind of made that film interesting. But I mean, I kind of like to see it when I saw the preview for it. Although I mean, didn't know it was made by the same person that made Beginners, and also same person made 20th Century Women. Which, but yeah, let's. I mean, I'm gonna be a very big box set, so let's find out what are the contents of the box set. I mean, the box set is called "I'll Remind You of Everything: The Legacies We Inherit and the Ones We Pass On," from the heart of our director Mike Mills' family portrait, inspired by his own experience. Also, these films are kind of autobiographical in a sense. I mean, but at least with aspects of his life, because Beginners might be probably when he's an adult, and then Come On, Come On might be when he was a kid, and then 20th Century Woman might be about his parents, I think, which but I'll probably find out when I see the other 2 films. Both personal and panoramic, the films collected here, Beginners, 20th Century Woman, and Come On, Come On, set their stories of parents and children against the backdrop of a changing America from the 1970s to the present, anchored by performances of depth and wit from the likes of Christopher Plummer, Ewan McGregor, Annette Bening, Greta Gerwig, Elle Fanning, Joaquin Phoenix, and Gabby Hoffman. These 3 films compose a mosaic of Mills' own life from boyhood to fatherhood, and of the people, places, music, and memories that mark him along the way. Also, Come On, Come On is tackling on Mike as being a father, but I mean, could also be about him as a child too, I think. Oh yeah, and on the cover of the film you also see the guys in Beginners' dog, which apparently when he even talks, although they actually put subtitles when he kind of talks too. So apparently this is a 6-disc box set, which has probably all the films on 4K and Blu-ray, but let's see what are the special features of it. But it is a director-approved special edition, which includes new 4K digital masters of all the films, revised and approved by the person that made the films, Mike Mills, with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. With the exception of Come On, Come On, which has it with the Dolby Atmos soundtrack, all the films presented in Dolby Vision HD are with 3 Blu-rays and the films and special features. There are commentaries on all the films featuring Mills, a new documentary on the trilogy featuring Mills, a conversation with filmmaker Kristen Johnson, the making of each film, which I did see the making of Beginners on the Blu-ray of it when it was first released, but they're probably, of course, their past making ofs. Music videos of songs directed by Mills, including like All Air Is All I Need, and the music video of Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. I mean, he directed the music video of that song. Either the actual music video or maybe the kind of a remake version of that music video of the song, which I thought about that in a moment. Additional actually films and possibly short films by the director, including The Former, Eating, Sleeping, Waiting, and Playing, The Architecture of Reassurance, and Mind Forever Voyaging, True Strange Seas of Thought Alone. And I'm easy to find all throughout his career, between like 1996 to 2019, previews of all the films, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus an appreciation by filmmaker Joachim Trier, an interview with Mills about his work outside of feature filmmaking. A new cover by Mike Mills and Osk. Also, we actually designed the cover and likely the packaging of this box set, which makes it, you kind of get into like the experience of his films, which, so it does go in depth into the director, and we can't wait to see the other 2 films in this trilogy, of course. Yeah. But now to the another early Martin Scorsese film that will actually will be released this month, which is Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, which is a film that I heard a lot because it was available on the Criterion channel for a long time. It was very likely that this was going to get a Criterion edition. Well, the film has Ellen Burstyn, Chris Christopherson, and the theme talks about a single mom, I think, but let's find out what happens in this film. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Martin Scorsese infused the classic material melodrama with the brash spirit of the new Hollywood in this zeitgeist capturing feminist tale of a woman finding her footing in a patriarchal world. And Academy Award-winning Ellen Burstyn shined as Alice Hyatt, a newlywed mother who, with her precocious son Tommy, takes up across the Southwest to pursue her dream of becoming a singer, along the way learning to live on her own terms. Eva has a new romance with a rugged rancher, tests her growing independence. Yeah, so this, apparently Ellen Burstyn got an Academy Award for this film, so I mean, this should be a really great film. I mean, like, you also see her in other things, including, like, anything related with David Lynch, including, like, Twin Peaks, and she was also in 2 of Darren Aronofsky's films, including, like, Requiem for a Dream and recently, Caught Stealing, which she's still alive to this day, so I mean, at least we still have at least one living legend still alive, actually. Boasting vivid supporting turns by Diane Ladd, Harvey Keitel, and Jodie Foster, this irresistible look, it's there anew overflows with warmth and humanity from each bustling frame. Oh, this is one of also Jodie Foster's early films too, at least. So here are the special features of the Criterion edition of Alice Doesn't Live Anymore. So it has a new 4D restoration supervised and approved by Martin Scorsese with uncompressed mono soundtrack. The film presented in Dolby Vision HDR with the Blu-ray, the film and special features, an audio commentary featuring Scorsese and film stars Ellen Burstyn, Jodie Foster, Chris Christopherson, Diane Ladd, Alfred Lauter. It might be an old audio commentary. A new conversation between Burstyn and film critic Farron Smith-Nemi. A new interview with the editor of the film, Marcia Lucas. So this is actually before he worked with Thelma Schumacher. A making of documentary featuring Burstyn and Christopherson. The film's preview, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus an essay by film critic Stephanie Zakariak, new cover by Eric Skillman. Well, so apparently Martin Scorsese didn't do a new interview for this film, although, I mean, he might have did one for, of course, for the Criterion Collection edition of Killers of the Flower Moon, which of course was just recently released, although it may not have been made specific for the Criterion Collection, it might have been like a general like making of, but I mean, so at least as well too, it may not have been, but at least somehow it could have been taught. Like, I mean, like, he might have taught about the film for it, but apparently, of course, I got the Criterion Collection of that film recently, apparently at the recent flash sale, which, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to learn how they made this film, at least. And then, okay, so, but at least they got Ellen Burstyn to talk about the film, at least, so let's hear her stories about it, which, so let's Go to the other films that they'll be releasing in the month. First of all, they have, and it's loading for a bit. We have a Paul Newman film called HUD, which it's a Western, which I'm assuming it's a Western. I don't know a lot about this film, but let's see what the film talks about. A family downfall becomes a stark elegy for the ideals of the American frontier in this quietly subversive reimagining of Western myths. In the fourth of his six collaborations with the progressive director Martin Ritt, Paul Newman created his darkest role yet as Hud Bannon, a charismatic but ruthlessly unprincipled rancher. Hud's ambition to seize control of an ailing cattle business from his traditional bound father drives the family, including his worshipped nephew and worldly wise housekeeper, toward collapse. Okay, this is kind of giving me vibes of Yellowstone, even though I don't watch the show. Winner of Academy Awards for Best Actress, Supporting Actor, and Cinematography, courtesy of James Wong Howe, another living legend in case of cinematography, whose artistic black and white lensing tends psychological dimension to the desolate western vistas. HUD daringly rewrites the image of the heroic cowboy for a delusional generation. It has a new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed mono soundtrack. The film presented in Dolby Vision HDR. Audio excerpts from a 1974 American Film Institute seminar with director Martin Ritt. A new interview with film star Sally Field. Conducted by author Isaac Butler on Ritt and HUD. A new interview with cinematographer Roger Deakins on director of photography James Wong Ho. An episode of Inside the Actors Studio with Paul Newman. Of course, Inside the Actors Studio was a show on Bravo back in the day when the shows that would air on Bravo are like shows about the arts, and now they only air reality shows now. And Andy Cohen. English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus an essay by author and film scholar Gabrielle Miller in a 1963 American cinematographer interview with Howe, covered by Eric Skillman, which he's making a lot of covers of for the Criterion Collection currently recently. Well, so there's some few interesting new special features on this film, including an interview with one of the film stars and Roger Deakins talking about James Wong Ho, but other than that, it's mainly archival stuff, but I mean, that's something I could probably watch at some point. Then we have a film made by Nagisa Oshima, which we know is the same person that made Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and In the Realm of the Senses, with Cruel Story of Youth. I don't know about this film, but let's see what happens in it. A scorching tale of toxic love in a toxic world. I mean, that was probably a thing in Japan around the time this film took place. Well, this is the second film too, and this is probably what put him on the map, at least in Japan, but then he would make more famous films after this. Yeah, I mean, even like Wim Wenders kind of tell this story of like when he was going through like the Criterion Closet, where while he was going to Tokyo to make the documentary about Yasujiro Ozu, Tokyo Ga, and then Nagisa Oshima was apparently going to Paris to work on something there, and apparently they both met in the washroom nearby the duty free at the airport during like a transfer, and then yeah, that was kind of a really interesting story from him at least, yeah. Caught in the dog-eat-dog crucible of post-war Tokyo, teenage lovers Makoto and Kyoshi turn to a life of crime and entrapping litigious middle-aged men in order to extort their money. But how long can the wayward youths outrun their faith? Bursting with vivid color, this visually scintillating, fiercely nihilistic film howls with the rage of society in which everything love, sex, and youthful idealism has been corrupted. Spoiler, it doesn't end well? Let's see the special features of the Criterion Collection of the film, which actually you can see this film right now on the Criterion channel. It has like a 4K digital restoration with uncompressed mono soundtrack. The film not presented in HDR. As a bonus, it also includes the director's first film, A Town of Love and Hope from 1959, as well as probably an early short film by him called Tomorrow's Sun. An interview with film scholar Tony Raines, which might be new for this release. The film's preview, plus an essay by critic Chris Fujiwara, new cover by Miriam L. Renouy. So, at least this is kind of going through like Nagisa Oshima's early years, but other than that, not a lot of new special features on this. But I mean, if you're a big fan of the director, you probably want to get this. And then we have a film that might be based on a book by famous Canadian singer and poet Leonard Cohen, The Crying Game. No, this is not based on a book by Leonard Cohen. Neil Jordan's emotionally stunning international sensation overcame the barriers between independent and mainstream cinema to become one of the defining films of the 1990s. Set against the turbulence of the Troubles in Northern Ireland, The Crying Game is a puzzle box of a film examining complex questions of loyalty, desire, and identity as it traces the fraught relationship developed between two wounded souls. Fergus, a former Irish Republican Army member tormented by guilt, and Dill, the romantic girlfriend of the hostage whose death haunts him. As the film shifts from political drama to noir tinged thriller to bruising romance, what emerges is something beyond genre, a profound and indelible vision of human connection across all boundaries. So here are the special features of the Criterion edition of that film, which includes a new 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by the person that made the film, Neil Jordan, with 2.0 surround DTS HD Master 2 soundtrack. The film presents Dual Vision HDR, an audio commentary featuring Jordan, a new interview with Jordan and film star Stephen Rea. The making of the film from 2005, featuring interviews with Jordan, Rea, and producer Stephen Woolley. An alternate ending featuring audio comment by Jordan, English subs for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus essays by film critics Tasha Robinson and Willow Catalin McClay. New cover by Sarah Sines. So yeah, I mean, there are some new interviews with the director and one of the film's stars. I mean, so yeah, this will probably be a release I could possibly watch at some point. And then we got the re-release of a David Lynch film, which for a while might have been out of print for a while, but then finally it's back in print, and also now available in 4K. Although the original Blu-ray release might have had the film presented in a 4K like remaster, but that film would be The Elephant Man, which, I mean, out of all of David Lynch's films, I mean, it's kind of, you could say, one of his more straightforward films. I mean, it might be actually his most straightforward film, even though, like, midway through the film, it kind of goes full David Lynch. But, I mean, and yeah, I mean, like, it shows, like, shows that, man, if people were, like, very more compassionate about people, then, I mean, at least that does show that they're actually decent human beings. And I mean, first, what the main person in the film, John Hurt's character, had to go through, apparently, like, he eventually would get the respect he deserves. I mean, like, if it was not for the doctor that kind of saved him, of course, played by Anthony Hopkins. And yeah, and apparently, surprisingly, Mel Brooks was also kind of like a producer on this, even though he didn't actually credit himself around the time the film was released, but it's now known he actually did produce the film. But also his wife, Anne Babcock, apparently is in the film too, which, of course, since this is a re-release, of course, the special features of this are, probably going to be the same, which of course includes, apparently, of course, like a 4K restoration, which might not have been approved by David Lynch, although, as well as maybe the audio too, but although it doesn't present the film with HDR, it does have also, like, another excerpt from the autobiography he made, Room to Dream, archival interviews with David Lynch, as well as film star John Hurt, producers Mel Brooks and Brooks and Jonathan Sanger, director of photography Freddie Francis, photographer Frank Connor, and makeup artist Christopher Tucker, an audio recording of an interview and Q&A with Lynch at the American Institute for 1981, a documentary about the film called The Terrible Elephant Man revealed from 2001, also a promo about the person in the film, John Merrick, called Joseph Mary, the Real Elephant Man from 2005, featuring archivist Jonathan Evans, film preview and radio spots, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, plus excerpts from an interview with Lynch from the 2005 edition of a book on him by Chris Rodley, Lynch on Lynch, and an 1886 letter to the editor of the London Times concerning Merrick by Francis Colin Cargolm, chairman of the London Hospital, covered by Drosa Adin, Sister High, which is probably adapted from the film's original poster, which, and yeah, I mean, like, so if you do have the film already, I mean, you can probably, like, just keep, copy you have, unless you really want to see the film in 4K, although it doesn't have HDR, though. And with that, apparently, that are the films that the Criterion Collection will be releasing in May. Of course, we got the box set consisting of the films of Mike Mills, plus another early Martin Scorsese film, another Paul Newman Western, early films by Nagizo Shima, Crying Game, and a re-release of David Lynch's The Elephant Man in 4K. But of course, earlier I was showing you like one of the films that I got in the recent Criterion flash sale, which so if I was going to show you like the other film that I got in the sale, which this one I was also going to get for sure, was actually, of course, film The Worst Person in the World, of course, made by Jonathan Trier, which of course he recently made like the Academy-winning film Sentimental Value, which will be which will be released by the Criterion Collection next month. And when I kind of read the information about the film, I kind of found out that apparently this film was actually part of a trilogy of films called like the Oslo trilogy. Although there was another trilogy kind of named after that too. But I mean, the two other films in that trilogy apparently are available on the Criterion channel at least, which well, but for me in Canada, only one of them is available, but the other one is only like U.S. only. But I mean, apparently Renee Renassi, who was also in Sentimental Value and soon to be in the new film Backrooms with Joel Ejiofor. I mean, she got Best Actress for this film at the Cannes Film Festival. Apparently, the same year when Drive My Car also got a few awards at the Cannes Film Festival as well too. Which probably get to see this and then rewatch Sentimental Value after that. What are your thoughts on the films that the Criterion Collection will be releasing in July of this year? You can put your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed me going through what films will be releasing this month, you can like the video, subscribe to my channel where I'll probably talk more about the Criterion Collection, anything related to film. With that, I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.